Tonight, a new push to reform Florida's Stand Your Ground law. Senator Chris Smith says he can't wait any longer for Governor Rick Scott to convene a task force. So today he announced his own to look into the Trayvon Martin case. Police say Neighborhood Watch volunteer George Zimmerman says he shot unarmed 17-year-old Trayvon Martin out of self-defense. It sparked outrage across the country. Our political consultants join us now to talk about the Martin case and also the evolution of redistricting and the impact on you for Inside Politics, Left and Right.
That sounds scary, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Redistricting, the evolution of redistricting.
Yes. It's like science fiction. Well, maybe it's going to turn out to be science fiction.
Hey, that was good. Science fiction. Redistricting is science fiction.
Well, it's a science. And, you know, the interesting thing is, and I've been through this, you can put 40 teams in a room with all the demographics in a map other than party registration, and you come up with 40 different plans. And everybody's just, they're doing their thing based on what they think is right. That's without partisan consideration. When you layer that on top,
yeah, you have a mess.
It's impossible.
Well, you know, the 5 and 6 thing, I think the amendments brought a lot of order to this. But the problem becomes that they can't get their heads out of the fact that this is not, it doesn't matter how you guys think this looks and what's fair. We have these new guidelines that say that basically what you think is irrelevant, but they can't get themselves out of that mindset, I think.
Well,
that's what I was saying.
I think you're right to an extent, but remember, you know, the court opinion on the 9th of March was the first time any court had ever ruled on these new standards. So it's understandable. I mean, they did approve. I mean, the House with 120 districts managed to get approval from the Supreme Court.
But you know what though, Fred? Let's look at that. That's a very good and interesting point. But the House already fought that fight and lost. Those guys were pretty smart, as far as I'm concerned. Even though they are Republicans, I thought they were pretty smart.
Oh my gosh, I want a copy of this tape.
Yeah. Well, you know, the right is right. I mean, they fought that fight. They fought it the year before.
What's going to be interesting now, Gail, as you know, the Senate redid their map. The House went along and stamped their approval on it. It's now back at the Supreme Court. The big question is, did the Senate fix the problems?
I don't think so.
I
think that they're going to. You're going to end up with more Democrats, more seats that are obviously Democratic leaning, and more seats that are especially
well, it's performance that counts.
Performance, voter performance, and I think it's going to come out very much in the favor of the Senate Democrats and of course Chris Smith.
Here's what I found interesting. Here's an opportunity supposedly to create a 4th Hispanic Senate district in Miami-Dade. The Senate didn't do it. So what happened in the House? A number of Republican Hispanics voted with the D's against the plan. It passed.
Right,
but it was like
they
67 votes.
They sent a very clear message.
They did.
They really, really did. But let's go on to the thing that has been haunting this state. I think the Trayvon Martin situation has been haunting this state, and everybody seems to be on the perimeter. We don't even need to try to talk about the legal issues. Every day, there's some other nightmare piece of evidence that's blown up, it's on TV, you know, concerning this case and concerning Zimmerman and whether he has, you know, he's injured or not injured. I think that guy is so wrong and so out of whack.
But now, Gail, don't add to the madness that's out there. I mean, everybody. I think everybody's depressed when you think about the situation that occurred. But we have one thing in our Constitution that says justice for all.
Yes, but what happened to the child? You know, there was no justice for that child.
Well, we don't know yet. I hope you're wrong. You may be right, but we don't know yet. We ought not be.
But see, this
conclusions.
is being used as you know, the fact that everything needs to be laid out. No one seems to be able to lay out anything.
Well, I thought it was good that Chris Smith did form his own task force, but that's really to study the law, the Stand Your Ground law. I think the more people that look at this, the more fact-finding we have, the better off we'll be. In the end, what we need are answers. and we need answers that will guide us if we need to make changes
Well,
in the law.
I think you're right on that, absolutely. I think Chris Smith is right on target,
Right.
as usual. He's a very smart man. But I think that the problem is inaction by the governor. I think nobody knows when this task force is going to be formed. I feel like I'm in To Kill a Mockingbird, and I'm missing Gregory Peck. You know, I mean, that is...
Let's see, who would be Gregory Peck in this?
It
Would
sure
be
isn't
the
Rick
governor?
Scott, no.
Oh, I would think it'd be the governor.
Oh, please, that
Well,
guy
wait a
is
minute.
nothing. That's another blasphemy on your
Well,
part.
now here's what he's saying. If I understand correctly, he is going to form the task force, but he doesn't want them to jump into this to study the law until the special prosecutor out of Jacksonville
Right.
has decided what the facts are of this case. And I think it's important we have facts.
We have so many federal investigations
Yes.
and state
Department of
and
Justice.
yeah, and FDLE.
The more the merrier.
They're wrapping us. We could go on all day. Well,
And all week.
That's inside politics from the left.
And from the right.
Okay.
Thanks.